Tonight you drift through the Monsoon Diaries, a quiet story of rain finding its way to still hills. And you are already there, already soft, already resting in the hush before the first cloud arrives. Everything is slow here, and everything is gentle, and there is nowhere else to be. Let your body settle a little more into wherever you are lying. Feel the surface beneath you holding you completely, without any effort on your part. Your shoulders can drop, and they do, a little lower than before. Your jaw unclenches just slightly. Your hands grow loose and open on the blanket. You are already breathing more slowly than you realize. A long breath in through your nose, a long breath out. And with each slow exhale, the room feels quieter. The air feels softer, and you feel heavier in the most comfortable way possible. Your eyes, if they are still open, are growing tired now. The lids are warm and a little heavy, and that heaviness is pleasant, like the very first moment of sleep reaching up to meet you. You can let them close whenever they want to. There is nothing to see tonight except the quiet country inside your mind, and it is ready for you. The hills are very still. You are standing at the edge of a wide open plain, and the hills rise gently ahead of you, low and rounded, covered in dry golden grass that has been waiting patiently for the rains. The sky above the hills is a pale gray-white, the color of old linen washed many times, and the air carries a faint coolness that you have not felt in months. It rests against your skin like a quiet promise, not cold, just soft and different from the heat of recent weeks. The ground beneath your feet is warm and powdery, and the dust settles as you stand there without moving. There are no other sounds right now. The birds went quiet an hour ago. The insects have paused. Even the grass has stopped its usual soft rustling, and the whole landscape holds itself very still, the way a held breath feels, except without any tension in it at all. It is simply waiting, and the waiting itself is peaceful. Far away beyond the furthest hill, a low sound rolls across the sky. It is so distant that you feel it more than hear it, a gentle vibration that moves through the air and settles in your chest like a deep hum. It is the first rumble of clouds, still very far off, still only the softest announcement of what is quietly, slowly on its way. It does not startle. It arrives the way sleep arrives, gradually, and from somewhere you cannot quite point to. You watch the horizon, the clouds. There are the color of a pigeon's back, a soft blue-gray that deepens at the center and lightens at the edges, and they are moving, but so slowly that you can only notice the movement if you look away and then look back. They are rolling in, one great quiet mass, only the steady certainty of something inevitable and kind. The light changes. Everything around you softens into an even, diffuse glow. The harsh edges of afternoon gone now. The shadows smoothed away. The hills look different in this light, gentler, more rounded, like they are exhaling too. The grass has taken on a silver-green tint, each blade catching just enough of the cloud-filtered sky to seem almost luminous. And you notice how beautiful and simple this is. Just grass and hills, and the slow arrival of clouds, and nothing asked of you at all. You take a breath in, and the air tastes faintly of something damp and mineral and very old, the smell of rain on dry earth, already beginning to travel toward you on the wind, though the rain itself is still far away. This smell is called petrichor, and it is one of the oldest comforts the earth knows how to offer. It loosens something in your chest, something you have been carrying without noticing, and you breathe it in again, slow and deliberate, and let it go. Your body is heavier now. Your legs have stopped feeling like they need to support you. Your back is soft. Your neck has found its ease. The weight of your head feels good, resting and still. And your thoughts, if you are still having them, are growing quieter, more spacious, further apart. There is more silence between one thought and the next, and in that silence is a tremendous restfulness, warm and wide, and without edges. The clouds continue to roll. Another low rumble moves across the sky, a little closer now, a little more present, but still so gentle that it sounds like someone sighing in a room far down the hall. It is not a sound that asks anything of you. It is only the sky doing what the sky does, slowly, in its own time, the way all the most important things are done. The birds are still silent. The grass is still. You stand there in that profound quiet, and the air around you has grown the smallest degree cooler, barely perceptible, and you feel it on the backs of your hands and along your forearms, a delicate freshness, and it is lovely. It is exactly the temperature of ease. The first hill is now half in shadow, the leading edge of the cloud mass having reached far enough to dim the light above it, and the shadow moves across the slope so slowly, so softly, that it looks like the hill itself is resting its eyes. You understand that feeling very well right now. Your own eyes are heavy with a pleasant, unforced weight, and the world behind them is growing dim in the nicest way, the edges fading gently, the colors softening into each other. You can feel the ground here, or whatever is beneath you now, the soft place where waking ends. The clouds are still rolling in somewhere behind your closed eyes, and the distant rumble comes again, barely a murmur, rolling across those still, waiting hills, and the air is full of that ancient smell of rain not yet arrived, and the grass is silver green and patient, and the whole wide sky is a tender gray, and it is so very quiet here. You are drifting now, easy and slow, moving in the direction of sleep, the way the clouds move in the direction of the hills, without effort, without urgency, carried along by something much larger and gentler than yourself. The hills are still. You are still. The rain is on its way, and it will find you here, warm and resting, and completely at peace. The first drops have not yet fallen, but something has already shifted in the world around you. The ground beneath your feet carries a kind of anticipation, a held warmth that has been gathering since the dry months began. You notice it first as a softness at the back of your throat, something faintly mineral and green, rising up from the cracked red soil before a single cloud has opened. That scent is petrichor. It belongs to the earth in a way that no other smell does. It is ancient and patient. It has been waiting inside the soil the way a memory waits inside a quiet room, not loud, not asking for anything, simply present until the right moment calls it forward. You have known this scent your whole life, and each time it finds you, something in you recognizes it before your mind has had time to name it. The word itself is old. A scientist in another century named it from the Greek, petros for stone and ichor for the fluid that moved through the veins of gods. Even the naming is a gentle thing. It suggests that the earth has something sacred moving through it, something slow and deep that rises only when the sky leans down to meet it. You settle a little deeper into where you rest. The narration flows around you like warm water. There is no hurry here. There is only the scent spreading wide across an open plain somewhere in the distance, while you remain soft and still. Outside, in the world where the monsoon wanders, the earth is doing its quiet work. Here, where you rest, that work becomes something you can simply receive. The ground has been dry for months. The soil has baked in the long afternoon light, and it holds heat the way fired clay holds heat, slow to cool, slow to give up what it has gathered. Inside that warm earth, something called geosmin has been living quietly. It is made by tiny organisms, bacteria so small they are invisible, who have been resting in the dust, patient as seeds, producing this compound in the dark of the soil. When moisture finally touches the surface, it carries those molecules up into the open world, and they reach you. You find that remarkable, that the scent of rain on dry earth is, in some sense, the breath of living things too small to see. The ground is not simply ground. It is a soft, breathing city, full of quiet life, and it has been waiting to speak. The wind is still very gentle. It moves across the open land in long, low waves, carrying the scent before the rain itself arrives. Far ahead, you imagine fields of cracked earth, with old mango trees standing at their edges, their roots deep and unhurried. You imagine a narrow road going somewhere peaceful, bordered by tall, dry grass that has gone pale and golden in the long heat. Now that grass bends just slightly. The wind shifts. Something is coming. The scent deepens as it travels. It picks up notes of wet stone and damp bark, and something sweeter underneath, like the inside of a broken leaf. It is not a sharp smell. It does not announce itself. It simply arrives, the way dusk arrives, gradually, from all directions at once, until you realize it has been there for a while, and you only just noticed. Somewhere out on that plain, the earth is releasing everything it has held. The top layer of soil grows dark as the first moisture touches it. The dust settles. The cracked surface softens at its edges. Little by little, the land begins to receive what the sky is offering, not urgently, not all at once, but with a kind of dignified gratitude. You rest inside this moment. Your body is already heavy. Your thoughts have grown rounded at their edges, soft and unhurried. There is a warmth inside your chest that has nothing to do with effort. It is simply there, the way warmth is always there when something has been held long enough. The temperature rises in slow, invisible columns. You cannot see it moving, but it moves. It drifts across the road, across the dry tank bed where the water will return, across the low stone walls that border old farms. It moves the way a song moves through a house, not visible anywhere in particular, but filling every room. A bulbul calls once from somewhere inside a tamarind tree. It does not call again. Even the birds are listening now, tilting their small heads toward the sky, sensing the shift in pressure, the drop in heat, the arrival of something vast and gentle coming to meet the ground. The sky has lowered itself. It sits closer to the earth than it did this morning. The light has changed too, gone from pale and sharp to something diffuse and silver, as though the whole afternoon has been wrapped in soft cloth. Shapes at the edge of your vision are quieter now. The world has turned inward. Far across the fields, the horizon has softened, gone gentle at its edges, and it is hard to say where the land ends and the heavy, waiting sky begins. Inside the earth, the geosmin keeps rising. It will keep rising after the first drops fall, and after the storm settles into a steady pour, and even after the rain has moved on to somewhere farther south. The scent will linger in the warm stone and in the bark of old trees and in the soil of courtyard gardens where someone has scattered dried flowers. It will stay the way only the deepest things stay, not clinging, not demanding, just quietly remaining. You carry it with you now into the place where sleep begins. That scent follows you there. It is in the warmth that surrounds your shoulders. It is in the soft dark behind your closed eyes. It is in the slow turning of your breath, which has grown easy, 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 without you asking it to. The earth gave it to you freely. The soil held it for months, through the long heat and the dusty afternoons and the bright, relentless sky. And when the moment came, it offered everything up, without reservation, without ceremony. There was no keeping, no withholding. Only this open-handed gift, rising through warm air into the world. And now, the rain is almost here. You can feel it in the quiet, not as something arriving to wake you, but as something arriving to settle beside you, like a companion who has walked a long way to find you resting here and is glad. The night opens softly. The earth breathes. You breathe with it. The first drops find the tin roof one at a time. Each one arrives with a soft, bright tick, precise and small, like a finger pressed gently against a drum. There is a pause after each drop, a breath of quiet. And then another tap comes, landing just slightly to the left of where you expected it. The pattern is never quite regular. That is what makes it so restful. Your mind reaches forward to predict the next sound, and before it can settle on an answer, the sound is already there. Soft and unhurried, arriving on its own terms. The rain is still learning the roof. It finds the ridgeline first, then spreads, drop by drop, toward the low edges where the tin curves and collects. Some drops land flat and bright. Others catch a seam in the metal and split into two quieter sounds, a tick followed by a flutter. You notice these small variations without naming them. They pass through your awareness like water through open fingers, leaving no trace, taking nothing from you as they go. Outside, the courtyard fills with its own soft chorus. Drops find the broad leaves of the banana tree and make a heavier, rounder sound there. A sound that blooms and then fades. They find the packed mud near the gate and press small craters into it, each one filling slowly with water the color of pale tea. A clay pot left near the steps catches drop after drop, and the ring of each one against the fired clay is lower and warmer than the tin above you, a quiet note held briefly in the dark. The rain thickens now, not in any sudden way, but as a tide rises, so gradually that you only notice when you look back at where it began. The taps on the roof grow closer together. They begin to layer, one sound resting on another, building into something that is less like individual drops and more like a continuous, shifting murmur. There is still unevenness in it. A gust passes through the palms beyond the wall and tilts the rain for a moment, pressing it against the side of the roof, where the sound becomes a soft, brushing wash, almost like breathing. Then the gust settles, and the drops fall straight again, each one returning to its small, clear tap. Somewhere above the ceiling, a thin stream of water finds a groove in the tin and begins to travel. You can hear it moving, a delicate, glassy trickle threading through the larger sound of the rain. It reaches the edge of the roof and falls from there in a thin line, striking the narrow ledge below with a steady, gentle patter. That small, consistent thread of sound holds you like a hand holds a lantern, steadily, without effort, offering just enough light to walk by. The room around you is full of softness. The walls have soaked up the coolness that arrived ahead of the rain, and now they breathe it back out slowly. The floor beneath the mat is cool through the fabric, and the blanket where it folds near your shoulder is heavy in a good way, the kind of weight that asks nothing of you. The pillow has found the shape of your head. Everything in the room seems to have arranged itself without any instruction for exactly this. A flicker of light moves somewhere beyond the curtain, pale and distant, barely brightening the cloth before it is gone. It is far off enough that the sound, when it comes, is little more than a low, rolling murmur, almost tender, the way old thunder sounds when a storm has done its work and is only speaking now out of habit. There is no startle in it. It settles into the room the way bass notes in a song add depth, not by demanding attention, but by making the whole thing fuller. The rain finds a new tempo on the roof. For a little while it quickens, the drops arriving almost on top of one another, filling the space above you with a dense, rushing sound. Then it eases again, returning to something slower and more measured. This ebb and reach is itself a kind of lullaby, the sound widening and narrowing, like breath. You are aware of your own breath for a moment, how it matches the softness in the room, how it comes and goes without any effort on your part at all. Outside, the street is empty and gleaming. puddles spread in the low places between the paving stones, and the rain drops into each one and rings outward in perfect circles that meet other circles and pass through them without breaking. The coconut palms are still, their fronds hanging down with the weight of gathered water. Now and then, a frond releases its collected drops all at once, and that rush of sound is brief and rustling, like a whispered secret shared in the dark. A dog has settled under the overhang of the house across the lane. You know this without seeing it. That is the kind of night this is. A night when every creature has found its shelter, when the rain has gathered everyone inward toward warmth and stillness, and the particular peace of being held by a sound that asks nothing in return. Your thoughts, if you had them a little while ago, have grown quiet now. They have not gone anywhere in particular. They have simply softened at their edges like old letters left in a warm drawer, still present, but no longer insisting on being read. The rain is doing this. The roof is doing this. The whole dark, wet, gentle night is conspiring, without any effort, to make resting feel like the most natural thing in the world. The tin above you is a good roof. It has known many monsoons. Every season the rain relearns its surface, finds its dips and ridges, discovers again, which seams will hold, and which will let a thin bead of water wander slowly toward the edge. Tonight the roof does its quiet work, and the sound it makes is the sound of shelter itself, steady and unquestioning, holding everything below it in a gentle, firm embrace. The drops keep coming. They will keep coming long after your eyes have closed and your thoughts have dissolved into something softer than thought. The rhythm will still be there, uneven and faithful, tapping its small, bright notes against the tin. The room will stay cool. The blanket will stay heavy. The far thunder will murmur once more and then be quiet, and the rain will remain steady and near, tapping you gently, slowly, tenderly into rest. The lantern sits on the broad stone sill, its flame small and steady, tucked behind the glass where the rain cannot reach it. From where you rest, you can see its glow spreading outward, blurring at the edges, softening into something that no longer quite belongs to any single source. Rain has gathered on the outer pane in slow, wandering lines, and each line bends the lantern's light into something new, something loose and unhurried, a shimmer that moves down the glass and disappears into the wooden frame below. You watch those rivulets trace their paths. They do not rush. They pause in the small hollows etched into the glass, gather weight slowly, and then they slide again, carrying a thread of amber light with them as they go. One line meets another, and they fold together into something wider, something that catches more of the lantern's warmth before it, too, finds its way to the bottom of the pane. Each drop arriving from outside contributes to this slow, quiet choreography, and you watch it the way you might watch a fire, without effort, without any need to understand. The room around you holds that same warmth. The ceiling has taken on a faint golden cast borrowed from the flame, and the shadows along the far wall are not dark so much as simply dim, soft, resting. Nothing in this room feels sharp tonight. Corners have grown gentle. The furniture sits quietly in its familiar places, each piece a little hazed, a little dream softened, as though everything has agreed to be still for you. Outside, the rain continues its slow work on the garden. You cannot see it clearly through the streaked pane, but you can sense the shapes beyond the glass, the low, dark mounds of shrubs, a pale stone path made luminous by standing water, the faint outline of a low wall somewhere further on. These shapes shift slightly as fresh rain moves across the window, bending and elongating, swaying without any wind of their own, just the quiet physics of water on glass, pulling everything into a gentle distortion. There is something restful in this blurring, in the way the familiar world outside becomes soft and impressionistic, asks nothing of your eyes, and lets your gaze fall wherever it wants to. There is a particular quality to light seen through wet glass, a tenderness in it, a willingness to spread itself thin and share itself with everything around it. The lantern's flame does not demand your attention. It simply offers itself, warm and amber, patient, letting you look away and then come back to it whenever you please. You look away now toward the dark corner near the door, and when your gaze drifts back to the sill, the light is still there, still steady, still giving. Rain has a way of making indoor spaces feel more themselves. The room you are in tonight feels gathered, held, as though the walls have leaned in just slightly, wrapping themselves a little tighter around the warmth and the quiet. The floor does not creak. The curtain beside the lantern hangs motionless. Even the small sounds you might expect, the distant drip from a gutter, the faint settling of the house, seem to arrive already softened, already half asleep. You notice the glass itself, how different its surface looks on either side. From inside, looking out, you see only blur and glow, and the slow movement of water. But you imagine the outer surface, cold and smooth, sheeted with rain, a whole small world of drops landing and spreading and joining, each one a brief, clear lens before it flattens and runs. Somewhere on that outer glass, a moth has found shelter ledge above the window, its wings folded and pale, resting through the night, just as you are resting now. The lantern light reaches the moth, faintly, just enough to trace the soft veining of its wings in gold. Then a fresh rivulet crosses the pane, and the moth blurs, becomes a gentle smudge against the dark. And then the water moves on, and the moth is simply a moth again, quiet and content in its small, dry corner. You did not know you were watching for it. You find you are glad it is there. Time in this room does not announce itself. There is no clock whose ticking you can follow, no bell from somewhere in the town. Just the rain's own irregular cadence, which long ago stopped sounding, like counting, and started sounding, like breathing, like the slow, deep breathing of something very large and very calm settling in for a long night's rest over the whole wide landscape. You feel yourself settling in that same way. Your body has grown heavy in the way that is pleasant, the kind of weight that feels like the blanket has grown warmer, like gravity has made a gentle promise to hold you exactly where you are. Your thoughts arrive less completely than they did an hour ago. They come in fragments, a glimpse of something half familiar, a texture, the memory of a garden scene in passing. And then each fragment drifts before you can name it, replaced by nothing at all, replaced only by the soft gold of the lantern, by the lines of rain on glass. The flame in the lantern moves very slightly. There is no real draft, only the faintest circulation of warm air rising from the wick. And this tiny movement sets the glow shivering just once, just briefly, before the flame finds its stillness again. You noticed it without quite meaning to. You notice things this way now, passively receiving them rather than reaching for them. There is a pleasure in that kind of noticing, a looseness to it, an ease that spreads from your eyes all the way down through your shoulders and into your hands. A deeper curtain of rain comes across the garden, audible before it arrives at the glass. A fuller sound, not louder exactly, but broader, as though more of the sky has committed itself to the falling. The window pane goes almost entirely silver for a long moment, the lantern reduced to a warm smear somewhere beyond the streaming water, a hint of gold behind a veil of gray. And then the heavier shower passes as quietly as it arrived. The glass clears again to its familiar blurred state, and the lantern reappears, small and faithful, still burning. You have been watching all of this with your eyes growing heavier by degrees. The glow on the glass, the moth at rest, the ceiling's borrowed gold, the room's deep quiet. They have all been working together in the same direction, which is the direction of sleep. There There is nothing you need to do with any of it. There is nothing to hold onto or remember or understand. You simply remain where you are, softly lit, softly rained upon, softly carried towards somewhere that has no weather at all. The lantern will keep its vigil. The rain will keep its own. You are free now, entirely free to go somewhere quieter, somewhere without windows or weather, just warmth and dark, and the long, unbroken rest rain slows before it stops. You notice it first in the sound, a thinning, a loosening, as though the sky is releasing its last held breath. The drumming on the roof grows quieter, and then quieter still, until each drop becomes something you can count. One on a broad leaf somewhere below, one on the wooden sill beside you, one in the courtyard, finding a puddle already full and patient. Then the drops come less often. Then they come hardly at all. And then, very gently, they stop. What follows is not quite silence, because the world is still full of water. Every gutter, every leaf, every tilted rooftop has something left to give. But it is a different kind of sound now, softer and lower and slower than anything that came before. The gutters release their last thin streams in wandering threads. The broad leaves let go of what they have been holding all evening, drop by careful drop, as though each one deserves its own small moment. The trees tremble just barely, and a few more drops fall. And then the trees are still again. You feel the change in your chest. Something that had been gently braced, without you ever noticing, has now let go. A settling happens in you, quiet and sure. The hush comes down over everything like a warm cloth, complete and unhurried, and you rest inside it. Outside, every surface holds a little water. The broad banana leaves cup it like shallow bowls. The clay pots along the courtyard wall glisten. The stones of the path are deep and dark with rain, and they catch the faint returning light in small, still reflections. Nothing is moving. Everything is wet and settled and remarkably at peace. A frog calls from somewhere near the garden wall. Then another answers, farther away. And for a moment, the night belongs only to them. Their voices are round and low and unhurried, comfortable sounds from creatures who have been waiting all evening for exactly this. You listen without trying to, and the listening is easy, and the voices carry you somewhere even quieter than you already are. The clouds begin to shift and separate. You can feel it more than see it, a lightening at the edges of things, a pale wash of softer dark where deep dark had been. Somewhere above, through a parting in the overcast, a few stars appear. They are not bright stars tonight. They are muted and far, softened by the moisture still hanging in the high air. But they are there, and seeing them, you feel something in you go very still. The smell of the night has changed. It is no longer the sharp, electric promise of rain coming, nor the deep mineral surge of a storm at full strength. It has become something gentler now, a coolness that carries the green of wet grass, the sweetness of soaked wood, the faint, clean breath of earth settling back into itself. You breathe it in slowly, and it fills you all the way down, and it asks nothing of you. A dog barks once, somewhere a few streets away, and then goes quiet. A door closes with a soft wooden sound. Someone somewhere in this neighborhood is also finding sleep, also letting the long, wet evening release them. You and that unseen neighbor share the same quiet, the same ending of rain, the same gentle dark. Water drips from the eaves in an irregular, unhurried count. It is not a rhythm you can follow, and that is exactly right. Your mind reaches for the pattern and finds none, and in finding none, it lets go of the reaching. You are left with only the drop, and then the pause, and then another drop, arriving whenever it chooses. The puddles in the lane outside are completely still now. The rain had kept them moving all evening, ringing them with small circles, keeping their surfaces alive and busy. But now they are flat and calm, and they hold the sky inside them, the pale, uncertain glow of cloud and distant starlight reflected back in perfect miniature. You cannot see them from here, but you know they are there, those little mirrors lying open in the dark, holding their quiet copies of the night. Your body feels heavier than it did an hour ago. Not an unpleasant heaviness, a richness, a fullness, a sense of being gently pressed into the place where you are lying. The night has done this, the long watching and listening, the slow unwinding that happens when rain fills the world and asks only that you be still. And you have been still. And now you are more still than that. The last drops fall from the highest leaves, from the oldest branches, the ones that held the most. They fall one by one, widely spaced, each one a small and private event. You hear them and you do not count them. They arrive and they are complete. And they pass, and the quiet that remains after each one is a little deeper than the quiet before. Somewhere in the garden, a single cricket begins. Its sound is thin and clear, just one voice, testing the silence. It goes on steadily, without urgency, a soft brightness threading through the dark. Then another joins, a little to the left. Then a third, farther still. The whole wet night fills slowly with that gentle chorus, unhurried, even, rising from every corner of the soaked earth at once. You do not need to listen anymore. The sounds carry themselves. The crickets and the last drips and the faint, soft shifting of a world that is drying and cooling and breathing again. All of it moves forward on its own, needing nothing from you. Your only task now is to be here, which you already are, and to let the evening carry you, which it already has. The monsoon has given everything it brought tonight. It has given it to the earth and the stones and the leaves and the still puddles lying open under the sky. And it has given it to you too, this long, slow, generous pouring out, this deep soaking of the hours. You received it without having to do anything at all. You lay here and it came and it stayed, and now it is ending, and the ending is as soft as the beginning was, and softer even than that. The night settles, the last drop falls from a leaf you cannot see, somewhere in the wet garden, and it falls into water already waiting, and it is gone, and the surface closes over it, calm and untroubled, and the dark is very quiet now, and you are very nearly asleep. The sky has kept its gray long after the rain has gone. It is a soft gray, the color of old silk left in a drawer, the color of a memory half formed and gently floating. You notice this from where you lie, settled and still, your breath coming easy now, your body growing pleasantly heavy against everything beneath you. The gray is not the gray of storms, not the gray of anything urgent. It is the gray of rest, of suspension, of the world holding itself in a long, unhurried exhale. Outside, the puddles have gathered. They sit in low places, in the dips between paving stones, along the edges of quiet lanes, beside the roots of old trees whose bark has darkened with moisture. Each puddle holds a small sky of its own. The gray above is reflected perfectly, softly, without a single ripple to disturb it now. These little mirrors are a kind of gift. They keep the clouds close to the ground, folded into the ordinary surface of the world, so that even here, even at street level, you can look down and find the sky again. You imagine yourself walking among them, slowly, without any particular destination, your feet knowing where to step. You pass each puddle gently, and you glance down into the silver, and you see cloud formations drifting through your own reflection. There is a quiet magic in this. The ground holds the sky, and the sky holds the ground, and you walk between the two without any effort at all. The world has folded over on itself tonight, and you move through the fold with great ease. The gray above is not a heavy gray. It is weightless, rinsed clean by everything that fell, and now it rests over the world like a cool, even light, a light that asks nothing of you and offers only calm. birds have gone quiet in their branches. The leaves of broad trees still carry drops at their edges, bright and unhurried, taking their time before releasing and falling. Each drop falls without a sound you can hear from here. Each one adds itself to a puddle below, and the puddle receives it with a small, widening circle. A single gentle breath on still water, and then stillness again. You feel sleep beginning to settle through your body now. It starts at the far edges of you, at your fingertips, at the soles of your feet. It is a softening. It is a gradual release. The way tension you did not know you were holding begins to find its way out, quietly, without fanfare. Your shoulders settle a little lower. Your jaw unclenches. The space behind your eyes grows dim and warm. The puddles outside are deeply silver now as the gray above deepens into its own particular night shade. Silver is the color of this hour. It is the color of dreams beginning to gather their form. You have heard it said that dreams begin like this, pooling slowly in quiet places, finding the low ground, filling the small hollows that the day has left behind. They do not rush. They have nowhere urgent to be. They collect, grow still, and wait for you with great patience. You are almost there. You can feel the soft depth of sleep just beneath you, and your weight is settling into it. The gray sky is reflected in the last puddle you pass on your slow walk, and you stop for a moment. You look down into it. The reflection is perfectly calm. You see only clouds and the faintest impression of yourself, softened by the water, still and unhurried, which is exactly what you are becoming. The puddle shows you something true about this moment. The cool air sits on your skin like a blessing. Not cold, only cool. The pleasant coolness that lingers in low places and along the edges of old walls. You breathe it in slowly. Your chest rises and falls and does not hurry. The breath moves through you like a long, quiet note played at the very end of a piece of music. And when it is done, your body rests more deeply than before. The gray clouds above are settling in for the night. They are not going anywhere. They are comfortable where they are, draped softly over rooftops, over sleeping trees, over the quiet lanes below. They hold their moisture gently now, not ready to release, only resting. You rest with them. The whole world rests tonight, and you are folded into that rest without seam or edge, a part of the quiet as naturally as the puddles are a part of the ground. The silver water holds its reflection without effort. That is the thing about still water. It receives everything and keeps nothing back. It shows you the world exactly as it is, undistorted, unembellished, simply here. You let yourself be like that, open, receiving the quiet. You hold it gently. You let it move through you and soften everything it touches. Your thoughts, if you have any left now, are slow ones. They drift at the surface of your mind for a moment, and then they go. They do not need your attention. They are content to float away on their own. The gray sky receives them. The silver puddles take them in. What remains is only your breath and your warmth and the pleasant, familiar weight of your own body at rest. Sleep is very close now. You can feel its depth beneath you, vast and peaceful, without far shores. It is a kind darkness, not empty, but full of softness, full of the quiet this evening has been patiently building through the gray and the silver, and the cool that came after rain. You are drifting into it gently, without resistance, without even trying. The puddles outside go perfectly still. The last circle from the last fallen drop smooths itself away to nothing. The surface settles. The gray above and the silver below become one seamless whole. You breathe in slowly and breathe out again, and your body has already gone somewhere deep and warm and unhurried. Your eyes are already closed. You do not need to hold onto anything now. You do not need to keep watch. The night is keeping watch. It is very good at this, and it will not stop until the morning finds its own gentle way back. Until then, you are held here, resting in the silver quiet, in the dream that the puddles have been quietly keeping for you. The clouds soften. The puddles dream. You go still and peaceful, and then you are gone gently into sleep.